Hi, everyone. This is Gloria of the She Loves Good Things podcast, and I have Mabel Nunez, the founder and chief education officer of girlsonthemoney.com. And today I'll be asking her some questions, and I'm just so excited that she's here. As everyone knows, the Loving the Work We Do podcast also tries to trace like people's calling and vision, but also from a perspective of, saving money, loving life, and then of course, loving the work you do. So if investing, which is what Mabel does, is something that you're interested in, today we're going to dive deep into those questions. And right now, what are we, September 1st? Tesla, Apple are doing great things, depending on how you see that. And even made a great week to actually be doing this. And I'm so excited and grateful that she's here. And so with that, we will jump into the questions. So come on in, pull up a chair, and let's learn together. So Mabel, of course, like I've said like a million times, I'm so excited that you're here and that we're doing this. I and my kids, we started investing in stocks last year. And maybe I should not even say my kids, right? Me and my kids, because it was actually my son who took his birthday money and decided that he wanted an Ameritrade account. And we started. I want to take, claim of what he did. Maybe I influenced him some way, but I don't know. So, so we've noticed a lot of things during that time, having the stocks we've learned, but I feel like there's so much more a lot of people can learn from you. I did throw out questions to people in my community, and I was so amazed. I got a lot of questions. I don't know if I'll have time for all of them today, but I will go through some of them with you. And but first of all, I want to ask you like this really weird question. Okay, so, and the question goes, oh, I wrote it down somewhere. Okay. So, how is it possible that you ended up studying like your first, when you went to college, you did the first degree, computer science. I was researching.
Yeah, you did your homework. That's so funny.
I got into the archives, and then I'm like, reading up on you, researching it. I'm like, you had no reason whatsoever to even have chosen, computer science as your degree. But it's possible that you had classes, or maybe you did good in certain classes, which made you decide to, go for that, apart from the fact that it was the thing then. Everybody else was jumping onto IT. And as such, you just were like, that's the thing. But then you got to the class and it was, it became really difficult. So I guess my question is like, did a family member tell you? Because I'm African, Nigerian, and sometimes like you only have an option of certain degrees you can take: accountant, doctor, engineer, lawyer. So how did you get yourself into computer science?
Yeah, thank you, Gloria, first of all, for inviting me on your podcast. I'm super excited as well to be here to talk to you about stocks, which is something that I can talk about for forever. But yeah, great question. So basically, I went into undergrad as a computer science major, like you found out my background. However, I found those classes to be completely impossible to understand. Like I was lost. Like I think my first test, I got like a 30. It was so bad. So I decided, okay, maybe this is not the field for me. It was like I started undergrad around 2002 when like the whole internet boom was going on. So I think that's one of the reasons why I was motivated to start, to pursue a degree like that. But I soon realized it wasn't my thing. And then fate had it, or God or the universe, I don't know. But I ended up as a business major. I changed into business, and I took my concentration was yes, general business. But in my senior year of college, I took a finance course on investing, investment analysis, something like that. And it was my first semester senior year. So sorry, so about a semester before I graduated from college. And I just fell in love with the world of investing in stocks. I became obsessed with the subject. So I ended up graduating. I ended up taking enough finance courses to graduate with a finance concentration because I was just obsessed with the topic. But before that, to your point, I had never in my life heard about the stock market. Nobody in my family ever invested. It was something that I had never encountered until that one class that I took in college. My parents did a great job educating me about the foundation of personal finance, like saving money, don't like overcharge your credit cards and stuff like that. But investing was something I had never heard about until that one class that I took my senior year.
Wow, that is I read up on the professor. I can't remember his name now.
Yeah.
But like I so like 92 over 100, and you still didn't get a prize. That was my thought. Like how is that possible? It should be like a runner-up prize.
I know
But,
nothing, but I was proud of myself. I think whoever won got like all their stocks were like outperforming or something. I don't remember. I'm like, whatever, I discovered this awesome thing. So I was okay.
Yeah, I love passion, and I think I really love like the way that you landed on it. So that's pretty cool. And I think we need a lot of we need more people in women, foreigners, immigrant community that can understand how to invest better. And which leads me to one other question that someone asked, and um, her thing was like, um, how to move through the fear of investing, especially as a woman. And I'm like, I think generally I'm fearful every day, but to even, but stocks, which has been like a Wall Street thing, something that's just predominantly men, how have you been able to move through that fear, and how would you advise other women to start?
Yeah, amazing question because I can definitely relate. I was that person, even though I graduated with a finance degree and a passion for investing, I was still fearful. I was still scared. I was still skeptical. So I can only imagine somebody with no background in finance, how they might feel. Like, if I was freaking out about the stock market, I can only imagine, other people. I think what helped me get over that fear was taking action. So before I opened my first investment account, I was reading up on the stock market. I was making lists of companies that I wanted to invest in, but I was still very scared. Okay, I have everything ready, but I don't know how to make that jump. So it wasn't until I opened that account and I bought like only 4 shares of my favorite company at the time. And I just let it go. I'm like, I'm going to buy these 4 shares and just see what happens. I wasn't, I didn't go crazy, investing thousands of dollars, nothing like that. So I would recommend start very slow and steady, open that investment account, deposit a little bit of money. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, and then take that first step. And I think that can play a major role in getting over that fear. Because that, at least for me, that's what got me over
Okay.
the hesitation. So
Okay. And I feel like that makes sense. Ari, I know in doing my research that you love like the big stocks. So like even for me, I'm gonna tell you what you inspired me to do between the time we said we'd do this and yesterday. So by intuition, I had, before COVID started, decided that, oh, I wanted to buy Rite Aid stocks. And in my head, I had a reason, right? Like it used to be great, but all of a sudden it wasn't. And I was like, you know, what's the potential of this company? I was talking to my kids, and that was last year, like after, like around October or November or something. And they were like, no, why do you want to buy Rite Aid shares? Da, 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 da. Anyway, during COVID, when everything was like, I was like, oh my gosh, Rite Aid. Because then there was something the president said, and then bam, Rite Aid started picking up. So like, I was like, okay, I think I just got in just close enough and bought the stock. But anyway, bought the stock. But look, this is what I did. From you saying that sometimes you don't need to buy like cheap stocks in one of your videos, like, you know, sometimes go for the big one, you know. So what we did was I decided I offloaded everything I bought for Rite Aid. It had only grown like maybe $4 since we bought it in March and now. And I'm like, you know, you know, just take all the money I've gained from just dumping pennies, you know, pennies into Rite Aid and use it to buy this big one stock. So I just want to say that you inspired me to do that. So as of yesterday, we did that trade on Ameritrade. Was like, you know, just sell and just like buy, and instantly we did that. So looking forward to Apple stocks growing in, you know, in the near future. So. And I feel like there's something you said earlier that if I was listening, I'll be like, why didn't she ask a question? So the 4 stocks you bought when you started, what were those?
So it was actually 4 shares of Google. So
Oh,
Google wasn't as it was today. It was, you know, it was cheaper. It was 10 years ago or
okay.
12 years ago. So, and the reason why I bought it was, okay, to your point, to what you just said, my approach towards investing has always been to buy quality. I don't focus on price. Like I don't care if there's this company that's trading for $2 or $4. That doesn't concern me because I have this thing that if I'm going to invest my money in something, I want to buy the best of the best, cream of the crop type of stuff. So thank God that's always been my approach. So I've never bought like penny stocks or anything like that. That hasn't really attracted me. So by buying these big companies, even though they seem expensive or whatever,
Yeah.
I buy them because they're unique. They, you know, they don't have competition. You know, for the most part, they will continue to grow and thrive for many years to come. And that's kind of like my approach to investing. And yeah, and that investment I still have to this day. It's like my baby. I haven't sold my share. Like there was my first 4 shares ever. I haven't sold them. Over time, I've added to it a little bit, added to other companies.
Okay.
But that was my first lesson in knowing that when you buy quality, it pays off. That's why when I teach my courses or I talk to people about investing, I always tell them, don't focus on the price, focus on the potential of the business and how, you know, its growth going forward and you know, if it doesn't have any competitors and if it's like cream of the crop, if you find those kinds of companies, you're on the right track, you know, regardless of the price.
Okay. Okay. I think, so what's up if I could just since you having shares in Google means like you're also privy to like all the financial statements and like news, like the, you know, 10Q statements and all of those things, stockholders meeting. What's up with Google? They have been quiet all through this like COVID, like, and I'm suspecting like there has to be something in the work, but for some reason we're all bypassing them. Like Apple is there, Tesla's always talking, like their CEO never just like, he's not out there like all the other companies. Should we be buying up Google stocks?
I don't know why they, to be honest, since I've been with them for so many years, I know for a fact that they always been quiet. They always been on the back, you know, on the back side doing their thing. The thing is that they don't have any competition, at least not in the United States. So they're like in a league of their own. I would say the only close competitor would be Facebook, because Facebook, the way Facebook makes money is through ads.
Okay.
And Google, obviously, their main source of income is ads. So if I were to say who's their competition, I will maybe say Facebook, maybe Amazon, but not really.
Okay.
So they're kind of like over here by themselves, so they're always kind of quiet. And yeah, I think it's just normal
Wow.
for them, just because they have nothing, they don't really fight against anyone. They do get a lot of they face challenges from the government saying that they're too big, that they need to
Yeah.
like break up into different companies because they're massive and nobody can compete with them. So they're only in the news when there's like some lawsuits from the
Okay.
government saying, you guys are too big. But I think that's like kind of dumb, because okay, are you gonna get rid of Google? Like they pretty much run the world. So I don't,
Yeah. Yeah. And that's
at
why I'm
least
like,
in the US. So what are you trying to say? Like even people in the government that find them or fight them, they use Google. So I don't know what the deal is, but that's pretty much why they're on the news. But to be honest, for the most part, they're always, on the low, whatever. Yeah, kind of
okay.
quiet.
Wow. I was just like, wait, Google's there and no one's talking about them. Okay. Thank you for saying that. And I do know, like, because I do work for a government agency, like, all the emails and everything, people are using Google, not Zoom, and, so wow. I will check Google out. They haven't crossed my radar in a long,
They're
you
a little
know,
pricey, but they, when you think about it, okay, they're pricey, but who competes with them? They're like
yeah.
in a league of their own. So just,
Oh.
keep that in mind. Like I don't like to recommend things. I just like to people to like see for themselves, like, okay, let me
Mhm.
look into this and see if it's something that fits your investing strategy or your investing goals type of thing.
Okay.
But
I
yeah.
think that those are really good. So let me see. I have a couple more questions. So question is, um, I have a 15-year-old daughter who's starting to earn money with a job, and I wanted to give her a head start I never had. Is there an age limit to invest in stock, or what would be a place for her to start? That's one. And I feel like someone else had a similar question. Um, I guess it's almost the same, but it's not. So that's no, that's that question. Just that.
Great question. I'd be curious to know how old they are, but if they're a teenager and they're working, I'm assuming they're getting a W-2 or some type of tax form at the end of the year. If they are working and getting earned income through that job, I think that one of the best options is a Roth IRA.
Mm.
If they wanted to go that route. So
Oh,
basically, the benefits of a Roth IRA is that if she starts investing or saving and investing from now, everything that she earned from her investments within the Roth account is growing tax free. So by the
mhm.
time she retires, or when she reaches 59 and a half, she can cash out all that money with paying no taxes whatsoever. So that's what makes Roth IRAs excellent vehicles. And
Wow.
if she starts that young, she could be a millionaire. And this is not even wishful thinking or nothing. It's just plain math. If she
Okay.
opens a Roth IRA and she contributes consistently and makes good investments, she could be a millionaire by the time she's 45, 50, even before she retires.
Wow.
So that's an excellent vehicle. But it depends on whether her daughter wants to save and invest for retirement starting now, or if she wants to just have an investment account that's separate for her to like start learning about the markets and start, selecting different investments and seeing how that goes. That's
Mhm.
also a great idea if she just wants to just get her foot in the door and start understanding the markets. Then definitely, yeah, open an investment account. There's so many different options out there: TD Ameritrade, Ali Invest, Schwab, Fidelity, Vanguard, anything, like everything. It's free to open, free to invest, which is amazing in this day and age. So yeah, start putting some money from her job in those accounts and start kind of picking companies that she likes. I just will be cautious with saying that, because I like to emphasize like select quality from the beginning. Like if
Yeah.
she opens an account and tries to buy penny stocks, she's gonna be very disappointed. She's gonna either lose her money or don't make any money, or get hype one day because she made $2 and then lose it the next day.
Me.
Yeah, so I understand that, because a lot of people that start with investing start that way, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's a learning curve. So I would recommend, if you're gonna go that route, just buy quality
Yeah.
and see what happens. So
Okay. Yeah. That was really good. I think but yeah, I feel like everything has been a learning experience, like with the stocks that we bought, and then by even buying the, the Rite Aid and knowing like it didn't make anything. For me, it's been like that. My son, the one who just helped, he's the one who was like, all I did is just 10,000, and like, cause like all the things he picked has always made money.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm glad to know that. Okay, I'm glad to hear that.
So he thinks he's on a roll. I'm like, you still have something to learn. And so one of the questions I have is because of him. So like if you have a child who believes like they know everything intuitively and like they do not need any advice from anybody else, how do you help that child like invest in stock? Like because like to him is like everything I've always done has been good, good, good. Like I research, I do this, like, and I know what I'm doing. Like I don't need your help. I don't need to ask people for questions. I'm like, no, you got to learn more. So like, do you have any idea? I know you have that program for kids, that course. So like, how do you, if you've had a child like that, how do you help them?
So my first question about your child is when did he start investing? Did he start this year?
It started last year.
Okay. All right. Because I was gonna say this year, if somebody started investing in April of this
Mm-hmm.
year when the market started recovering, and from April to now the market has done amazing. So pretty much anyone that started investing from April to August of 2020 has done great. So they might think they're experts because the market is up for everyone.
Okay.
But if he started last year, okay, I'm gonna give him some leeway. It
It
sounds like
started March, and now that I think about it, he did make a wrong invest. Like there was one company he invested it, immediately invested. They went to like 3/4.
oh God, yeah. That's what I was gonna say next. Like, I would love to take a look. Like, let's say he was my cousin or a family member. I would love to take a look at what he's investing in, to see what kind of companies he's putting his money in. Because I know with teenagers or young adults, when they feel that they know everything, it's hard to get them to not think that they're experts. So the best way would be like, I would take a look and kind of like,
I can tell you if you want to dig into it.
oh, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Before before the crash, he had stock in the company that went down. Shoosh, I can't remember the name now, but it was one of those like the PlayStation people or something. One
Oh,
of those
GameStop?
companies. No, it wasn't GameStop. It was I don't know the name of it. I can't remember the name, but it was one of those. And then actually, let me see. I can pick his account.
So I'll be curious to know if he's putting a lot of his money in like penny stocks, very cheap stuff like that. That's a gamble. Okay, that's a gamble, and it kind of like it makes me like, how do I explain it? It makes me kind of sad only because I know that eventually he's gonna hit a wall and he's gonna lose enough money that he's gonna be discouraged with the markets.
Okay.
When you invest in penny stocks and kind of like very cheap things like that, you're essentially gambling with the markets. You're not investing.
Okay.
But the good thing is that he's very young. So hopefully by the time he's like, 18, 20 or whatever, he'll learn his lesson
Yeah.
and start investing the right way, because it's very hard to, they think, okay, I'm investing in these companies that are super cheap. I just have to invest $100 and I'm gonna make all this money.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
the mentality. So
Yeah,
it's
I was
just,
like that too when I was young. So I totally like I knew everything. No one could tell me anything.
so it's understandable. Yeah. It's gonna, if he doesn't want to kind of listen to, okay, this is how you invest in quality. Just let him learn his lesson, as long as he's not investing thousands of dollars, because that can get very dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously it's going to hurt even more when he hits that wall. Every single person that I've met, that I've interacted with in my life that have invested in penny stocks, have regretted it. And they've told me, they've expressed that to me. And it's a story that I hear over and over again, and it repeats itself over and over again. So that's why I kind of know where he's going. The good thing is that I'm glad he's doing like stocks, and because the other day I met a neighbor of mine on the like downstairs, and he was telling me how his teenager is investing in Forex or playing with the Forex market. And I was, he's like, what do you think about that? I'm like, that's, I don't like Forex. I don't agree with it. I don't put one penny of my money in that. I think that's also gambling, in my opinion. People might disagree with me, but I 100% I'm against putting my money in there or advising anyone to put their money in there. So I kind of told him the same thing, let him learn his lesson. Eventually he's going to learn the lesson. He's going to hit that wall. He's going to lose enough money that he's going to say, whoa, like, okay, this is not good. And then hopefully he won't just quit the stock market, because sometimes people get so discouraged because they lose so much money that they just decide, okay, the market is not for me. Let me just save my money in the bank and call it a day. And then they miss out on the amazing way of growing wealth through good quality companies. So they miss out on that good side of investing because they got, kind of just destroyed by the trashy type of investment. So that's the thing. It's a challenge, but sometimes you just have to learn their lesson.
Yeah, I see where, I have to step back.
Yeah, it's hard to get involved as long as he's not
Oh no, he's not. And I even feel like for the person that asked the question, like, I feel like she too, because if you have a child working at like age 15, my son is like 16, that child has already demonstrated like they want to be self-accountable and a little bit of responsibilities in them. So yeah, but I feel like, I guess as parents, you you want to shelter your kids for a long time. So you mentioned something in one of the videos I was watching that you recorded. I think it was EPS.
ETS?
No, I don't think it was ETN.
Oh, okay.
EPS. Is there? Okay. What is EPS?
So EPS stands for earnings per share. And it's a metric that you can use to check on whether or not a company is profitable. So a lot of the companies that trade in the markets, it doesn't mean that they're all profitable. So for those people that aren't accounting majors or maybe don't understand what I mean by that, it's basically companies have sales from their products and services, and then they have expenses, paying their lease or paying employees, whatever. After expenses, do they have any money left? If they have any money left, that's profits, that's earnings. If they don't have any money left, then they don't, there's nothing there, there's no profits. So earnings per share is a metric that you can use to see if there's any money left after sales and expenses.
Okay.
Personally, I don't invest in companies that are not profitable because I feel they're kind of, they're too risky. Why would I put my money in something that's not profitable yet? I don't mind waiting. There's other metrics that you can look into to kind of like justify the fact that they're not profitable. But if you just want to do like a quick lookup, like, okay, is this company profitable or not? A great app that you can use, or even the website version on Yahoo Finance. Do you use Yahoo Finance?
Yeah, once in a while. Yeah, it's old school, but yes, I still do it.
It is, but it's like they haven't come out with something better, so we're still using that. If you go to Yahoo Finance and you look up a company, like you put the name of the company on the search bar, on the screen where you have all those numbers and data, you're going to see one piece of data that's going to say EPS.
Okay.
If the number is negative, that means the company is not profitable. If the number is positive, then it means that they are a profitable business. So that's a quick way. If you're doing your research, if you have a list of stocks and you're doing your research and you want to know, okay, is this company, it looks good, but are they profitable? You can do a quick search on like Yahoo Finance. Just look at the EPS metric. Is it negative? Is it positive? And then you can kind of like use that as part of your research.
Oh, wow. Okay. I like that. Yeah, I know. I was like listening. I was like, yeah, I don't know what, but I feel like that right there. So if anybody's listening, let me talk to the video or whatever. Like if anybody's listening, I feel like that by itself is something you'll learn in like a class that you're paying for, and you're getting that here. Like to just take that whatever company you're trying to buy the stock in, put the information in Yahoo, and that's even like a shorter way. In like you can add that to going to their website and reading their financials, but that by itself is almost like bottom line of your financial statement right there. Like you're passing all the step. If you didn't have time to do your research, go find that EPS and make a decision on what you're buying. So thank you so much for explaining that. Let me look through. Um, so it says, what's better to invest in, short versus long term? It's a lot of questions. What's a good percentage to keep for different life stages? I'm not sure if that's I feel like that's a portfolio allocation thing. Maybe that thing they talk about when you're 30, 40, 50. So I don't know. So we'll give this question a try. Um, but if a mom is investing and knows that 20% of what she should be invested in is stock type A, then what would be helpful? And I feel like maybe the person is saying for someone with not a lot of money that's disposable, like maybe what should they be allocating? I don't think you can be the judge of that, but you can give us like, yeah, because that person has to look at they have to look at their budget first. And like you say in all of your blogs and videos, have emergency savings set up already before you start investing. And then I think maybe build on that. So I don't know if that's a good question. I can look again. So
To the question about short term versus long term,
okay. Okay.
I'm a fan of long term investing. So I'm assuming that by short term she means like kind of day trading type of stuff. So day trading is when you sit in front of your computer while the market is open and you're trying to buy, buy something and sell something based on like patterns on a chart, like a stock chart.
Mm-hmm.
Trading to me is like gambling. I don't trade. I don't day
Okay.
trade at all. My philosophy and my strategy is to buy quality and then hold on to those investments for at least 3 years, 3 to 5 years or longer.
Okay.
I'm very long term. As long as I hold on to the stocks, as long as my thesis hasn't changed. So what I mean by that is like if there was a reason why I bought that stock,
mm-hmm.
3 years ago, if I look at it 3 years later and my reason hasn't changed, it's still a good company, it's still growing, it's still making me money, I leave it alone. If my
Okay.
thesis change, it maybe the company has different management or they stop offering certain products, certain services that made them unique, then at that point I may decide, okay, it's time to let this go. And that's something that I check on like once per year. Like once per year, I look at my portfolio and I look at all my holdings and I say whether or not my reasons for buying those investments has changed or not. If they hasn't changed, like I said, I'll leave them alone, or I might make a decision to sell if anything has changed.
Okay.
But overall, I'm very long term, and that's what I encourage. If if whoever asks that question is interested in like day trading stuff, I would tell them to be very careful. To me, like I said, it's like gambling. But yeah, so there's a difference between being a day trader and being an investor
Okay.
that leaves their money alone for a few years.
Okay. Okay. And that makes sense. I feel like that makes sense. And while you were saying that, like a question that was coming to me, which I am human and I have forgotten, I'm not gonna lie. Um, I had a great question. So I'm gonna pass. I had it on the tip of my tongue and I lost it. Okay, let me post. And this is why like I like writing things out. So I have the ones written down. So, something about you that you've always been like, I wish someone would ask me this question. It could be financial, it could be about work, but that nobody ever ask you, but you'd you'd like to share. And I'll give you an example because I feel like I haven't owned down the question well. Um, and it's that my journey started with my me being here today is all part of a journey that I always tell people started in 2015, after my divorce was finalized. But in hindsight, like after a while, I realized that it actually started when my elder brother died, in 2014. And because he had always been there for me, I was like a protector, like everything like a girl could need in a brother. And like it would always be like, do this, do that. You're not assertive enough. You're too, all this kind of stuff. And like go for your dreams and things. And then he passed, and then I saw everything he had done in his life, because he had an accident which left him paralyzed. Like, but what's that? One company hit him in New York.
Wow.
So like the car got totaled. By the time they took him to the hospital, he was paralyzed. But like he still did a whole lot of stuff, right? And so like, but that was my thing to start me on my journey, right? So I know we've talked about your beginning, that aha moment. And I feel like there's a lot of you out there, like if one really digs, but like, what is one thing about you that you wish people knew or would ask you, but they've never asked you?
Wow, that's a very deep
Deep.
question, yeah, it's great. I don't think I've ever been asked that, which is pretty awesome. I was, yeah, as you were speaking, which is wow, that's a crazy story, about your brother, and rest in
Mm-hmm.
peace. So crazy. I was thinking about what would that be for me. I think something that people don't really know or haven't asked me about is the fact that my dream when I got out of college, since I love the stock market so much, is that I wanted to work for an investment bank in Wall Street.
Oh yeah, that's true. I read that.
Oh, did you? I don't even know where I put that out there.
And you worked, wait, let me, so that you'll see what I hope I don't make you forget what you're about to
No,
say,
no, it's okay.
but so I did my research. But then first of all worked for an insurance company, but you were like, okay, start there first. Yeah, and then you did trickle your way down to a Wall Street type company for a minute, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, but my dream, which was my dream back in the day, I worked in Wall Street, but I didn't work in investments or anything. I worked in insurance, which was my career. The minute I got out of college, for like about 10 years after college, I worked in insurance, not selling insurance, more like in the background, like underwriting claims,
Okay.
stuff like that, in the corporate side of the insurance world.
Okay.
But I've always wanted to work for an investment bank, or work in the New York Stock Exchange.
Oh.
But unfortunately, I never had those connections. I never had people that would say, okay, you love this world of investing. Let me try to help you get a job here. Or even when I went on job interviews, they saw this Latina girl from the Bronx. Like, what does she know about investing, or what can she contribute to this big company? So I always felt like, okay, that was such like a big dream of mine, and it didn't really materialize. Like I never got to work, at least up to this point in my life, in a Wall Street firm in investment banking like I always wanted. But I always feel like God has better plans. Like
Mm-hmm.
my whole life, I always feel like something doesn't work out is because there's something better for me out there. So eventually I figured out that the Girls on the Money name came to my mind, building this company came to mind. And eventually I learned that maybe God didn't want me helping rich people get richer. Maybe he wanted me helping people that don't know this stuff,
Yeah.
that don't have the means to, or maybe don't think they have the means to invest. Maybe God wanted me to teach these people how they can grow wealth, as opposed to me sitting in this big company making millionaires, even making even
Yeah.
more.
Richer.
So I
Mm-hmm.
kind of like, that's how I see it nowadays. But I used to be very, I used to get very sentimental about the fact like, oh wow, why don't I get a chance to work in this
Oh
big company? Like,
wow.
why can I, I understand like everybody is a white male. That's the what you see. Like
Mm-hmm.
maybe you see
Yeah.
a random black person, maybe a random Latino person, but 90% of the people in those companies are white
Yes.
males.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't click for me at the point. So I used to get down on myself, like, oh my God, like I wish somebody gave me a chance. But then as you get older, you see things more clear. And I understood that I had another mission in life, maybe wasn't that. So that's
Yes.
something that I don't think I've ever shared it that deep.
Yay.
So it's something that you get, that's an exclusive for you. Even to this day, I still get sentimental, like, wow, like that was such a big dream of mine, but God had better plans. So
Yes, yes. And I feel like that connects to the theme of this podcast too, because truthfully, at the end of the day, like, I really believe that whatever we go through, like, I tell people, please don't feel too bad for me. Like, everything that I'm doing is part of my own work, my own, it's that tongue thing, my own walk, and that's my journey. But
yes.
like you, it took a while to get to that place where, like, I didn't feel like a victim. I feel bad for myself anymore. Like, I'm like, no, don't do that. Like, don't feel too bad for me. Like, this is what I was supposed to do, and I'm okay with it. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing that.
So you're gonna have me crying here, Gloria.
Oh,
That was a very deep question. So but I
yeah.
appreciate you asking it because I don't think I've ever had the chance to like kind of share that. So
Okay, I'm glad you had the chance. And I want to say, I need to find out where I came up with the reason to ask that question. Either someone I'd listened to like years before had said that to someone, like, he always thinks someone would ask him a question and nobody does. And it's like, doggone it, that's like really a really good question. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. Someone said, what are things to avoid when buying stocks? Not necessarily say you can't make mistakes, but what is illegal or should be looked at with skepticism. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like if you buy it through the right avenues, you should be okay.
yeah,
Yeah, but take a stab at that.
if the stock is trading in an exchange like the New York Stock Exchange or the Nasdaq or something called the OTC, over the counter. Um,
Okay.
so I don't know if your audience is familiar with this, but the two main stock exchanges in the United States are the New York Stock Exchange and the Nasdaq.
Mhm.
So if a company is legit and it has a foundation, it's a real business, you will see it in these exchanges. OTC, over the counter, is also a legit exchange in the United States. However, a lot of the stocks that trade in OTC under OTC are unregulated, so they're sometimes they don't have to submit 10Ks, like annual reports or quarterly reports. They don't have to provide financial data. They have more lax requirements on the under
Okay.
OTC. So I would recommend being skeptical of like OTC companies before you invest in them. In a quick way, by the way, I want to give you like a practical example again,
Okay.
because I don't want it to sound like Chinese. If you go to Yahoo Finance and you type in the name of the company again,
Mhm.
whatever company you're considering, if you look under the name of the company, so it might say the Walt Disney Company. If you look under the name, you're either going to see NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange,
Okay.
like really light letters, like it's like grayish letters, but you see
Mhm.
that there. If it's an OTC company, you're going to see OTC under it. So most penny stocks, for example, will trade under OTC.
Okay.
Um, Not to say that they're not legit, but they don't have a lot of regulations. So the odds of you losing your money or the company disappearing and running away with your investment are very high. So I guess that would be my answer to that question. Just be careful with like OTC exchange companies.
Okay. All right. Hopefully everybody stays like within financial institutions that they can ask questions. Okay. So one more. Well, I think I have two more questions. You're gonna laugh at this one. So again, while doing my research, you know, I'm semi a foreigner. My kids, of course, don't consider themselves foreigner. Just saying. Um, I've been Nigerian American, but you had mentioned in one of your videos that about abroad. And I think someone, maybe one of your audience, had asked questions about buying stocks abroad. Um, what have you? So I guess for me, I want to piggyback on that question. Did you ever dive in to find out how the overseas system works, or do you like? I would love to buy shares like in, I don't know, I think there's a China stock exchange you had mentioned, and then like the one in Europe or England. Do you have like any new information about how to buy stocks there? Can you, like, how do you buy it? Yeah.
So do you mean like if you live in the United States and you want to
Yes.
start the trade?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's a way to do that through something called ADR.
Okay.
So for example, I don't know, kind of like Adidas, for example. Adidas is not based in the United States. They're based on, I
Oh,
forgot,
really?
somewhere in Europe, I think.
Oh, wow. I never knew
Let me
that.
check
Okay.
real quick.
Okay. Oh, wow.
So they're based on another country. So the way most investors, if I'm not getting this confused, the way most investors they're from Germany. That's
Okay.
home based in Germany.
Wow. Have they always been in Germany?
Yeah, they're a German business. There's actually a great podcast that I'm trying to remember the name of, that tells you the whole story of Nike and Adidas, and it's super interesting. I
Oh
wish
my
I
gosh.
remember
I've
the name.
just always thought Adidas was an American company.
No, they're based on Germany, and
Wow. Okay.
they're huge here.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, they are. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
no problem. So the way most investors, for example, in the case of that company, you will have to buy the U.S. version of that stock through something called an ADR. So when you look it up if you Google it or look it up on Yahoo Finance, you're gonna see that next to the name you'll say ADR, because that's the U.S. version of it. So yeah, you can definitely invest in abroad companies that are based on other countries in the United States as through that method.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'm not really sure. Maybe there's ways around that, but I think it can get a little bit more complex because there's different taxes involved, and you don't know if you get paid dividends, you don't know how much they're going to take away because it's another country, or how do you report that in the United States? So it could get a little tricky. But
Mm-hmm.
the ADR method makes it a lot easier and more straightforward if
Okay.
you go that route for pretty much most major companies that are based on other countries.
Okay. I feel like I could go on and on asking you
That's
questions.
a great question.
But I think I want to choose between this last two. And maybe we can have like a part two, like maybe when this gets out there and people have like more questions,
For
maybe
sure.
we can do another one. But I'm trying to choose between two questions. So I know you kind of advise people like to set a schedule. I'm gonna tell you, I'd never thought about that. Like I just do this as the spirit goes. So I guess like if you have any other like tips for that, or do you have like maybe a blog post that would show people like maybe like now that you're trying to start buying stocks, like these are the first three maybe routines you need to start, maybe like I know the set the schedule thing, and then like is there anything else they could do?
Yeah, I think I have a blog post. I can't remember. I have to look it up. And if I do find the link, I'll send it over.
Okay, that
But
would
I
be
would
great.
say, I guess you mean like steps to like kind of get started.
Yeah, because I know you say schedule, like have a schedule when the day you always check in on your stock on the day to maybe to you transfer the money in, and then days where you just go check your account, but not like you're always going in there, but like have a plan of I move money in maybe on Mondays, and then like maybe once a month, and then at the end of the month I go in. Of course, now everything is crazy because of COVID, but like if we're in a normal world, what would someone do? You know,
That's a very smart point that you brought up. So so once you open an investment account, which again is free to open, free to invest, there's really no excuse whatsoever. Like anybody out there watching this or listening to this and thinks there's an excuse, there's no excuse.
I don't know why I did.
Yeah, like people like, oh, I don't have enough money. If you have $10, if you have $20, you can invest. Like there's really no excuse whatsoever. So open the account, and like to your point, if you can afford to automatically continue to deposit money into that account, maybe every month, maybe it's $20, maybe it's $50, you don't have to invest the money right away. It's
Mm-hmm.
just very smart to have like a cushion of money in your investment account just waiting for you. So let's say that you think about, oh, this company, it's a great business and it just went on sale because the market is acting crazy. Maybe
Yeah.
this is a good time to buy it. You will have that money waiting for you. So it's a great idea to connect your checking account, whatever it is that you want to connect, to your investment account, and have automatic transfers every month, every 2 weeks, whatever you want. It could be
Mm-hmm.
$10, it could be $50, whatever it is, and let that money accumulate. And then you slowly buy stocks, and you don't have to look at your stocks every single day. You can just do what I do. Whenever maybe you want to do this once a month as you are getting started investing. So once a month, look at the stocks that you have and ask yourself, okay, do I still believe in this business? Do I still think it's a good investment? Has it made me any
Ah,
money? Is it, even if it hasn't, that's kind of short term, like saying hasn't made me any money in 1 month. But for the most part, if it's a good business, it probably has made you some money. So yeah, ask yourself those questions, evaluate. You don't have to sell things because it went down one day, because that's a quick way to lose money really fast. So
yes.
that's the thing. But yeah, that would
I
be a good
love
strategy to
I
implement.
love all of those. And to anybody listening, I feel like we may have a part two, so we'll discuss that later. But like already in my head, I'm like, you mentioned penny stock. We got to talk about all this, delve into maybe IPOs a little. But as we round up, I just want to ask you like to share about what's next for you, and where can people find you, and then any other thing you want to share, but definitely what's next, and where. I know where people can find you, but like I would love for you to say that too.
Yeah. So the easiest platform or social media platform to find me is Instagram. So it's at Girls on the Money on Instagram. Also on Twitter, on Facebook. If you type,
Oh, wait, repeat that slowly.
what, the Girls on the Money part of the,
Yes,
okay,
yes.
Girls on the Money on Instagram, on Twitter. If you type in Girls on the Money on Facebook, my group, I have a group too. So the group will
Oh,
come
okay.
up. You can
Yes.
join the
Oh,
group.
I didn't know that. Okay.
So you can join my group, or you can email me if you don't have social media. I don't blame you. Social media can get crazy. So you can email
Yeah.
me hello@girlsonthemoney.com if you have any
Okay.
questions. And what's next? I'm just constantly teaching my courses. So I teach a 6 weeks boot camp 4 times per year. So the fall edition is going to start, I'm thinking probably early October,
Oh,
around
okay.
that time. I also teach monthly workshops just to get people started with investing, which are like how to open an investment account, how to fund it, like just the basics, just that
Okay.
foundation. I teach that in the monthly workshops. But any information about that, I'll share in my social media. So whoever
Okay.
follows me there or wants to email me to find out when's the next class, they'll free, I'll be happy to let them know. So
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this. I le-
thanks.
I learned a lot. And
Awesome.
so my hope is that everybody learned as much as I do. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. And so as we sign off, I'm so grateful that you made it and look forward to doing this again.